Some of you may have water features in your gardens. Some of you may be considering it. Today, I'm going to talk with a master certified aquascape contractor about the maintenance involved in a variety of different kinds of water features. We'll look at everything from full-blown ponds with waterfalls to very small features that are completely self-contained. Let's go find Derek and see what he has to say. So this is maybe kind of a medium-sized pond,
Yeah.
Not too small, but it's not the size of a swimming pool. Is this kind of a typical installation for you guys?
This is probably kind of that, almost that finished pond, because most people will start out with maybe like a 6x8, 8x11,
Right.
and you kind of graduate to this. Most people don't typically go beyond this.
Sure.
You can, I mean, sky's the limit. You can
Right.
do whatever you want to do, but this is kind of the average homeowner, or pond owner, I should say, will either rebuild or redo their pond at least 3 times, and this is kind of the finish.
This is where
what
they
you reach.
end. Yeah.
And the reason being is once they find out that it's really easy to deal with and low maintenance, then you're more apt to, take up a little more space from your garden.
I'm curious if, having more gallons of water that the temperature doesn't fluctuate as much, those kinds of things, is it easier in the long run to have something that's, rather than a little 3x4 pond that heats up badly, those kind of things?
I think it heats up. I think that's a key point. The
Yeah.
smaller the water features, evaporation
Right.
is definitely more of a concern.
Yeah,
So,
and you have more trouble with maybe algae and those kinds of things.
if it's not set up correctly, because then if you have a heavier fish load,
Right.
then we're looking at more algae
You're out of
problems
balance.
So
Yeah.
the more you graduate, it does get a little bit easier. So I agree.
Are there any depth requirements for a pond like this? Minimums, maximums?
Really, it's just fish health. You don't want to exceed 2 feet necessarily.
Okay.
But one, probably safety concerns, because we get any deeper, concerns with children and
Right.
stuff like that. But you definitely want to be more than a foot for fish health.
Sure.
It's our winters don't get that cold, but we don't want the fish to freeze, because
Right.
they do go dormant, their metabolism slows down.
Right.
So we really just kind of stay at that 2 foot, footprint. So it just makes a very aesthetically pleasing pond, and it's great for safety and fish health.
If you don't want the full-blown pond water feature, then these pondless water features offer up a great option. Tell us about installing one of these and what advantages these have maybe to the homeowner.
So when we get into the pondless and the fountainscape side,
Yeah.
small spaces.
Sure.
It's a big deal. A lot of people want water features. Nashville's growing, right? We have a lot of urban settings. They don't have the space they used to.
Sure.
So this is perfect for those small areas. And not only that, this one kind of has that kind of modern, contemporary feel.
Right.
So it can really fit into a formal garden. It could work into your traditional
Right.
perennial garden. But really, there's almost, I can't say zero maintenance, but there's really nothing to do to this thing but add some water every couple, 3 weeks or something.
You have a pump, which is an electric thing, and at some point that probably has to be replaced down the road.
Sure.
Occasional things like that, but a little leaf clean out once in a while. Everything's underground.
Yep. Has the underground basin underneath there.
Yeah.
This thing holds about 120 gallons of water underneath.
Okay.
So as you can see, the leaves have fallen. It's just sitting right on the gravel. It doesn't affect the flow at all.
Well, and the thing that I love about this is that as we're standing here looking, this is 8 or 9 feet by 10 or 12 feet. So even if you lived in a condo, even if you just had a small plot of land behind a condo or a townhouse, something like that, you could do something like this and have a fantastic water feature.
Absolutely.
Without having to have an open body of water.
This is as safe as a bathtub.
Yeah.
Same responsibility.
Sure.
And birds, it's an
You still get the
it's an amazing
wildlife.
bird bath.
Yeah. This feature is similar in size to the one that we just looked at, but a much more naturalistic approach, rather than 2 big bowls that are spilling water. This is truly a naturally built waterfall. What's the difference in installation and maintenance of this versus what we've just seen?
Sure. So the installation process, obviously a little more tedious because we're using bigger boulders versus the spillways and the bowls back there. So installation, a little more aggressive, a little more intense, but it still fits into a small space. So there again, if you have a small area, small space in the backyard, I mean truly, if you just had this much room in your backyard, this would be pretty sweet to just sit on your patio and enjoy. And just as you can see, we have some plants staged here. So the maintenance is really the same. So the basin down here, Well, it's the same basin as the other one. It's as far as function and pump and maintenance, same process.
Right.
It just kind of flows into a more, erosion type gravel basin. So that's the main motivation when we're doing this, is to recreate what nature's doing. This is actually, in the Smoky Mountains, there's a trail called Chimney Tops, and it's just a cool trail. And this is a little section that did I replicate it perfectly? No, but I just always think about that. So when this was being built, this is a little section that I see, and I love the streams. It's just, so yeah.
The other thing I noticed about this one that you've done that I think is really cool is that there's lighting in here. There's waterproof little fixtures that you can put down in a pond or in a waterfall or wherever. So this is the largest of your sort of pondless features that you have here on this particular property. And is there anything different about doing something like this versus something a little smaller?
Sure. This allows, you can kind of see the creative freedom. We really are not restricted to how big. If you have the space, we can install it. This one is great for commercial setting. So as you can tell with the road noise, here we're in front of the garden center. But this is a great space. You can put it in front of restaurants, apartment complexes, and there again, it's a safety thing. So with traditional ponds, they typically don't do that because of a safety concern. Here, what do we have? Like an inch of depth of water consistently running. So, and there again, we're bringing in wildlife, we're attracting birds. So it's just a larger expanse. And well, we can jazz it up too. So the drama that you can create.
Of course. You've got a much wider area to work with, or you make the areas big or small as you want, so you can create a really dramatic effect with your waterfall, multiple steps, and we've got one up here and one down here. So it just the larger you can go, the more opportunity you have to do creative things.
So Troy, like we were talking about before, small spaces.
Yes.
This is a relevant small space. So actually, if this kind of 6 foot, 8 foot footprint is where we started.
Okay.
And like we were talking about before, the average customer will expand or build on at least 3 times.
Right.
Case in point, we added another 12 feet to this particular water feature because they enjoyed it so much. And as you can see, they got their chairs and stuff. This is where they sit and just enjoy.
What a great way to fill sort of a difficult space. It's pretty well sloped. So I would imagine that in a space like this, if it was just a mulched bed, every time it rains, you're going to have mulch running down the hill and all of that sort of thing. So a perfect way to utilize a spot, to me, with something that really takes advantage of the natural lay of the land.
Right. And we've filled the space. So, I mean, we talked about maintenance and low maintenance. There's really not a lot going on here, even with the landscape.
Right. Ivy that needs to be trimmed once in a while, that sort of thing. A few Japanese maples. So I noticed in this feature, like in your others, the little light fixtures that are along the stream. So as we were saying before, you get more than just the daytime enjoyment out of this. If you're sitting on the porch in the evening, or if you have guests coming over, you get a different experience at night than you do during the day.
That's absolutely. So imagine, these are on a photo cell. So you come home in the evening, you've had a long day at work, you're greeted by tranquility.
Sure.
And just to take the worries away.
Yeah.
So it's just it's in all those, and we try not to overlight too. It's probably kind of hard to tell because we do try to hide the lights discreetly.
Right.
We don't overlight the area. We still want to have some shadows and some interest.
Of course.
So and there's a safety factor.
Right.
You come home in the evening and this area is lit, so you not only feel invited and glad to be home, but there's we're walking along steps, so a tripping hazard. So there's multiple benefits. The daytime water feature, the nighttime water feature.
Sure. Now, if you're a homeowner, a gardener, and you're looking for something that you can just sort of tuck away as a hidden surprise.
Exactly.
This seems like the perfect thing to me. This is all completely self-contained.
Yes.
So here we're looking at what, basin underneath?
Yes, same basin as the other concept. So this is, you described it well with just that really small space. I see this as like a vignette.
Right.
So it's like you have that in your garden. You don't see it when you first walk in. You're meandering through, and this is what you find.
Yeah, and you hear it. That's the thing that I think would be so interesting in a landscape large or small, about this is that you would hear that long before you ever found it. And it kind of becomes a scavenger hunt then through your garden to go, you know, where is that water? I know I hear water.
Yeah.
So they
it?
either have a feature or they have an irrigation leak, one
right.
of the two,
Something's
right?
going on, absolutely.
So, but this is so, I love this because I think this is something that anybody, no matter the size of their garden, large or small, can accomplish easily. Again, it's lit, so you can enjoy it day or night.
And if you have a little bit of algae that starts to grow on the rocks, you can just cut this one off and let it sit off for a day. The algae will dry up. You can take a hose and just wash it right off. So it's really simple. And this, again, is pet friendly.
What we really haven't talked about is the bigger picture of the ecosystem of the whole garden.
Absolutely.
And once you get a water feature added, then you know you've sort of completed the picture.
Sure.
You have
the element of life.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't have life without water, so you know, good karma. And
well, I can't thank you enough for taking a little bit of time to show me and all of our viewers a variety of different ways that we can add this element of life to our gardens.
Exactly. I appreciate it. Everybody wants a water feature, they just don't know it yet.
Right.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.